What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Talking Blue. I'm Matthew Mooney alongside Luke Langella. This is our post-game recap of the Giants-49ers game. So the Giants ended up suffering a 30-12 loss versus the San Francisco 49ers last Thursday night. Honestly, it was better than I thought it was going to be. It could have been a lot worse. Um, I was very upset about the loss at first when it happened because they didn't play well towards the end of the game, and they just kind of gave up at the end. But I look at the Chiefs Bears game and the Dolphins 49ers game and Dolphins Broncos game. My bad. I look at the results from both those games. It's not even that bad. What are your thoughts on the game, Luke?
Yeah, I think you hit it. It wasn't horrible and it wasn't great. I think that's what we look at. And rewatching highlights, I can't stop watching them. But you look at it, you survived. You were able to survive in the game. You didn't get massacred. It was a close game. At some points, it was a very close game. You were in that football game, and you managed the San Francisco offense. Your defense played well. The defense rose to the occasion. The offense could not sustain the drive. Obviously, had no run game with the absence of Saquon Barkley, which just shows what a piece he is in this Giants offense. It was very hard to get things done offensively, leaving the defense on the field. And I think the defense played well. I was happy. Kayvon Tibbs' first sack. Deontay Banks, Trey Hawkins, I thought played well again. Mike McFadden had the best game of his career. And I thought overall the Giants did a lot of good. I think they did a lot of bad too, but I think it's very motivational. You had a lot of pieces that were injured in that game, and that's what's going to happen against good teams. But I mean, getting these guys back, you have a nice little layover, so you got to play again in Seattle, or at home against Seattle. You got to get these guys healthy, and Seattle's not going to be an easy game either. But we need to get this run lead back underway.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. At first week one was an awful loss. I know I said this on the injury report. The new one will be coming out tomorrow, but it was a horrible loss, 40-0. Nothing. It really couldn't have gotten any worse than it did. It was an utter disaster. Then the comeback first. Yeah, was it?
It was rock bottom. Really, you can't get it worse than that. 40-0 in the home opener, first game of the year.
Yeah, that's embarrassing, especially against one of the teams you're trying to compete, try to prove that you can compete against. And they beat you. They beat you that badly in your home stadium. That's embarrassing, and it can't happen.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
You look ahead. I mean, the 49ers game, the reason why it could be discouraging is you could say this. We have a lot of games against teams that are as good as the 49ers. We got to play Miami. We got to play Seattle. We got to play Buffalo. We got to play Dallas. We got to play Philly twice more. I mean, this schedule is a very hard schedule. There's a lot of talented teams. It's a very loaded schedule. I mean, the Giants have a lot to prove. It's not going to be easy to get into the playoffs. We've been saying that all offseason. We said, we put the ceiling. We said about an average record, though. We don't see the Giants having a 13-4 season. That's just not what we see. And, this proves it because, it's going to be hard to beat good teams, especially with the injuries, which are going to happen. That's the NFL. You can't make excuses because of injuries. That's the NFL. I was watching Brian Daboll's interview, and, the reporters, a lot of questions. You had interviews. A lot of calls didn't go the Giants' way in that game either. They got flagged almost every single play at some points, and there were not penalties on some of them. There were some bad calls, but, it happens, and Brian Daboll was pretty open about it. We just have to be better, is what he was saying, and he's exactly right. They just have to be better. You can't leave the excuses on the table. You just got to go out there, and you got to be able to beat one of these good teams, and then just keep on beating these good teams, because that's going to be the only way to make the playoffs.
Yeah, I agree with you. Obviously, defense played well. I know we were just talking about that. We can hang with the 49ers, which I think is a very good thing. I know we didn't beat them. If we beat them, that would have been the upset of the week. All social media would probably have been going crazy over it, which they are about the Dallas Arizona upset, which is probably so far the biggest upset this year. And the Giants got to turn it around. And if we can hang with the 49ers, I think I just said this, but we can hang with pretty much anyone. So It'll be interesting to see what we could do. So does that mean that we could possibly compete with Miami or Buffalo or Philadelphia?
I mean, you can't get too ahead of yourself. Those will be later in the year. By then, we should have our guys back from injury. But, it's going to be hard. We look at those teams. It's the offenses that are and even their defense are lethal. But a team like Miami, their offense could just jump out on you, and they've showed that all year. They have two of the best receivers in the NFL, and a quarterback that could get them the ball. You could say Tua is great, you could say he's not, but he gets them the ball. His receivers will do a lot with the ball. Obviously, they have a great run game. They ran all over it too, man. There was no flaw in that game offensively, and you gotta look at it this way. Are you going to be able to make covers? Because at the end of the game, the Giants kind of fell apart. Deebo Samuel, George Kittle, they started breaking tackles, started making grabs. That was another thing, too. The Giants missed a lot of tackles. I mean, they were screwed. Brock Purdy had some easy throws. He made a great throw to Deebo at the end for that touchdown. But overall, they were short throws within 10 to 15 yards. It was the run out to the catch that was killing them. I mean, they were wide open, and the Giants weren't tackling them. You got to be able to tackle this week, Matthew. I mean, you can't go into this week Seattle and let DK Metcalf and Tyler Lockett just have the ball free down the sideline. It just isn't going to end well.
Yes, I absolutely agree with you. They just couldn't tackle. That was the one problem. I thought Deontay Banks was great. Adore Jackson looked good for the most part. Okereke, I think, was the star on defense. Obviously, Thibodeau looked good with the sack. They got some pressure. Leonard Williams had a sack. There were some bad calls, but it is what it is. Honestly,
Dexter Lawrence has looked excellent with getting some tackles for loss, but he's been in there all year. He's doing his thing, and no, not a sack, but I mean he's been big pass rush guy. I mean, I was talking about it a little bit. That Leonard Williams roughing the passer, that was not roughing the passer. I think everyone could agree on that. That's a 4-point play again because they would have kicked the 3 points. They weren't going to go for no 4th and 2. That's just the way Kyle Shanahan is. That's a 4-point play, another big point in the game when the Giants couldn't catch a break. I mean, the calls, they were atrocious, the refs, but I mean, the Giants didn't help themselves by getting in those situations, which they'll have to clean up this week.
Yeah, I agree with you. You're 100% not wrong. It was an unlucky game, but whatever, it's fine. We just got to if we can beat Seattle, I think that would be huge. Do you think Seattle is a winnable game? I don't think it's a gimme, but I think they have a shot.
I think a lot of the games the Giants will have are winnable. I think the Giants are one of those teams that can compete with good teams. I know you had a bad loss against Dallas. You had a rough game against Detroit. You had a rough game against the Cardinals. But the Giants are the type of team that like to keep it close. And I think they were a little bit we'll call it playoff hangover. They were reading into the paper. The Giants are a very hyped up team for good reasons. They have a lot of talent. And I think looking at this game, you're going to have to run the ball. You're going to have to tackle. I mean, it isn't going to be easy. Kenneth Walker, one of the young, great running backs. I mean, DK Metcalf is never easy to bring down. Geno Smith playing well. That defense, Jamal Adams makes his return. But, that's what it's going to come down to. Can you run the ball? Can you tackle? And, that's fundamental things. We talk about it every week. Can the offensive line block? We talk about it every week. But, I mean, that's going to be the difference maker in this game. And if it's winnable, I mean, I think all the games are winnable. I really do. I think the Giants are a type of team that could hang around with a lot of good teams. And I think what I look at is the game is this the Giants team that it was a few years ago when they'll hang around and lose in the fourth quarter? Or is this the Giants team we saw last year when they hung around to the fourth quarter and they won football games? That has to be the difference this week. You got to show it.
Yeah, I 100% agree with you. They need to be able to hang with every team in the league. I remember right before the season started, I remember it wasn't the season preview, but it was like a previous episode. We were talking about hot takes. We were just talking about how a lot of the Giants games, whether it's a win or loss, is going to be very close. I think they are one of those teams that can compete with anyone, and it should be interesting to see what happens this week.
I mean, that's right though. The difference is what we're looking this year. We don't just want to compete with the top guns. We want to beat the top guns because we want to be a great team. And to be in the playoffs, to make the Super Bowl, with this schedule, you can't just slip in. I think last year the Giants got a bit lucky with the schedule. Can't get lucky with the schedule this year. You're just going to have to go out there and dominate every single game. You're going to have to play your best game. And, every game's going to be like that game in Arizona. I really do. I think it's going to be a fight. And, guys are going to go down. In games like those, guys get hurt. But, I mean, everyone's going to have to toughen up and make it through a long season. We talk about Giants beating Minnesota. Minnesota did it last year. I mean, they had the most close games in the NFL last year. I mean, that's what the Giants are going to have to do this year.
Yeah. Obviously, you got to have close games. We're not going to be able to blow out a lot of teams this season. I didn't expect many blowouts. I was hoping for at least one or two, but really that's it, though.
I think you look at it. There's going to be another game. It's going to be a close game. If the Giants do the fundamentals, simple football, they play their game that they played last year, and I mean the Arizona game that wasn't their game. They don't need to throw the ball like that. You're going to run the ball all through the first half. You're going to open up the play action, open up the QB keepers in the second half, and you will beat football teams. It was unstoppable last year, and I mean, the pass game is great. That's what you're going to need for later games, teams like Philly when you play in shootouts. But for now, I think against Seattle, you got to run the ball. You got to use the play action. You got to get Daniel Jones with his legs. And I think you could win this football game. That's my take on it, Matthew. And any closing statements?
Yeah, I agree. I think this is going to be a close game. I could see this game going either way. Before the season, I had the Seahawks winning the game. I think it could go either way, but I remember saying after week 1, if the Giants go 2-2 by week 4, they'll be fine. So far, they are 1-2. I think if they win, if they win Monday night, we'll be fine. Our pregame show for that should be coming out around Saturday. But it's going to be a fun game. I think they have a shot, but we'll see what happens. I think it could go either way, but we need Andrew Thomas back. We need Saquon back.
Yeah.
I think Saquon could possibly come back for the week for Seattle. What do you think about Andrew Thomas? Any update on him?
I mean, I was reading, watching Brian Daboll's interview. He was almost ready to go this week. Ben Bredesen concussion protocol should be good. Aziz obviously just nursing the hamstring, but watching Dable, listening to him, everyone should be back. Saquon probably the most questionable out of all of them. I'm sure they'll all be listed as questionable, but I do see Aziz, Ben Bredesen, and AT playing, and then possible with the Saquon.
Yeah, I agree. I think we'll get a lot of guys back. Ben Bredesen should be a lock to come back. I think he's ready now. A concussion takes approximately a week to heal. I know I said that on the last on the injury report. I'll be posting the this week's injury report tomorrow night, so stay tuned for that. But
Yeah, I think that's really it.
Yeah.
So go Big Blue. We'll be excited for the Monday Night Football, and that's really it from us.
Yeah, that's really it. That's all for the episode. If you guys enjoyed, like, comment, subscribe, share this video with a few friends, and I'll see you guys tomorrow night. Let's go Giants.